Feng Shui Alchemy of Your Home and You is my presentation. It's all about the magic that's within your home and you. It's what we can create within ourselves when we connect to our homes and the land and the space. And as you can see here, I'm going to be talking about the energy centers, the chakras. The chakras are very important within our own bodies, within the world, as you can see here, within our homes, within the land. And what you can see here is the energy centers of the world. Now, when we look at the root being in Mount Shasta, that makes complete sense because you've got the mountain energy. You've got that complete earthing, feeling at one with the earth. When you come to the sacral with Lake Titicaca in South America, and these are all places I've visited, and not by accident, I don't think. So Lake Titicaca, it was like a magical place because they believed that the ships had come, up through the lake from the oceans. Big ships would appear in that lake from nowhere. The solar plexus in Uluru, Australia, another place where I visited, not by accident, I don't think either. So, and there I was seeing heart shapes on the mountain itself, on the actual Uluru and on the rocks. And it's such a beautiful, grounded place, and the colours that vibrate. I mean, when you think about the colours of the solar plexus, the yellows, the oranges, the reds that glow out. Now, you've got the throat, the Great Pyramids. Now, when you think about the Great Pyramids, we've all been told to think about, the pyramids have been put there, place of rest for all that is. And that everybody that, like the kings that were buried there, like Tutankhamun and all those great people, we were all buried with the people that they acknowledged worked for them, so that they could also go to the heavens with them. Now, when you think about the throat, it's about having the speaking. They spoke about what they wanted to know. So again, it makes sense that it was with the pyramids. Now, the pyramids are also coming up all around the world. So where you think these pyramids are, could that also be the throat consciousness of that particular country? So you've got to think about these things. You've got the heart, which is in Glastonbury. Now, when we think about our heart energy, it's where our home is. And when you think that this is the heart of the world, so when the heart of the world is upset, and a lot of the heart energy has been upset this particular year, we've been unconsciously not being in ourselves. So our own heart consciousness is feeling lost and alone. So you've got to think about where your heart is at this current time. Sit with your heart. Be conscious of where you belong. Be conscious of the country that you belong to, the town that you live in, the home that you live in. When you become more conscious and more aware of that heart energy, then you can become more happy within yourself, have more well-being and presence. Now, the third eye, the brow, the Peak District. Now, I stumbled across this on my travels as usual, because I wondered where the brow was. For a long time, people have said that it was in Glastonbury or around that area. I went up to the peaks, and that's where the brow energy is. It's where our interconnectivity is, our soul consciousness. It's where the new beginnings are and the awakenings. When you look at what has consciously been happening within our country in the UK at the moment and spreading globally, we've got to look at where that energy lies, and it's with the brow chakra. So the brow chakra of the world is there. It's very, very important. It's that awakening moment, that period 9 energy that's coming in. Now, we also have the crown in Tibet. Now, the crown energy is all about pure bliss. So it makes sense that it's in Tibet. We think of the monks, the people in Tibet, and how they are blissful in their way of life. They are all that is. They have the being, they have the knowledge to know within them that they are safe, they feel happy, they feel blissful. If there is fear within that crown chakra, there is usually something fearful that is going on around. There is trauma. And there has been trauma in Tibet. So you can imagine what they were feeling at that time when they'd been living that blissful life and all of a sudden they're faced with trauma, and to bring their energy back again. So looking at our own homes, which we will do in a minute, you've got to think about the crown is about bliss. And if there's any trauma within our home, if there's any trauma or spirit energies in our home, that can cause the fear. Now we've got the chakras of the UK. Now I also looked at the ley line energies of the UK as well on the next slide. But for the moment I want to look here at where the root is. The root, as you can see, is in London. Now, when we think about how many people from all around the globe come to London, we've got a rainbow of knowledge of people, different religions, nations. Everybody is drawn to London. And it's because we have that glorious root energy. People can feel grounded, earthed, safe in what they do. But that energy is upset at the moment. So you look at where our next energy is, and we've got the sacral. The sacral, as you can see there, is round about this Cambridge area. It's Bury St Edmunds. And when you look at that little alignment there, I'll show you on the next slide, because the sacral, the root and the heart are all connected. And that is actually on the St Michael line, if people know about the ley line energies. This is part of the St Michael line that runs up here. Now you've got to think that those little dots on that map are not just a little dot either. They can radiate from 60 to 100 mile radius. So you've got to think it's quite a wide range, okay? And then you have the solar plexus. This is coming into the Midlands area. I know it's on Birmingham there, but it's coming into the Midlands area, where there's been a lot of, I would say, relationship energy, turmoil, people not knowing where they're going, how they're feeling. And then you have the sacral. You know, the sacral energy again is coming here. I've said about the sacral, haven't I? Sorry. Go back. Solar plexus. Right, heart. So when you come to the heart energy, this also is the beginning of the belliness line. And the belliness line is known as the backbone of Britain. And this belliness line runs up from this heart chakra all the way up through the Midlands and up here to what we know is our crown chakra. Now, you wonder then why the brow is up here in Newcastle. Now, the brow is connected to the meridian line from Greenwich. So you have this energy from London that goes up here through the throat and up here through to the brow. So you've got to make the connection yourself between these chakra energies, what they mean. So when it's connected like that, from the root to the throat to the brow, we have that energy that is grounding us, what we're speaking, hearing, feeling, and then you have the brow energy, which is the awakening. That's all on the meridian line, the Greenwich meridian line. And spirit always take me on travels. And they took me up the meridian line. I ended up in Paddington looking for a new home. I went down that same day to Cleethorpes. And I thought, what am I doing in Cleethorpes? The meridian line is in Cleethorpes. I then had to take a bus to Louth. Louth is also on the meridian line. So it's no strange point that I go on these strange spiritual journeys and then they tell me afterwards the story and the meaning, spirit does, of where I've been and what I'm doing. So this is how I've got this journey about the chakras, because I've dowsed these and then the meaning came later. Now on the next slide you can see here how the energy lines transpose with the chakras. So you have that this energy line here, which is the meridian line. You have this energy here, which is the belliness line. This one here is what I'm connected to originally, because it's where I come from in Anglesey. And it's the Druid line. And the Druid line resonates with me very strongly because Anglesey was the last known bastion of the Druid school in the UK, going back to the Roman times. And the reason it resonates with me is because it also goes straight across here through Lincolnshire and through the peaks. Now, you remember me mentioning the peaks at the beginning with the world chakras? Well, this is also connecting to that spiritual energy of the brow and the awakening. So it does all connect. So we've got to think about the interconnection of the world, the UK, the energy lines that we've got within the UK and how they connect to us. Now, the chakras of the body. Now, most of us here know about the chakras of the body, but we have the root. You know, this is where our kundalini is. It's where it all starts, our beginning point. We have the sacral. It's the sexual energy within us. What vibrates? What gives us that go, the get up and go that we need every morning, our energy within us? The solar plexus is about our relationships with those around us, with the people, with our friends, with our consciousness, how we connect with people. The heart energy, when we look at the heart energy, the centre of our soul, the heart, we need to love ourselves before we can even love someone else. If we don't love ourselves, how can we love anyone else? Then we have the throat. Now, if we can't communicate and we don't know what's going on around us, how on earth can we communicate with ourselves? How can we think properly and communicate with ourselves if we can't communicate with others? Then we have this brow energy. The brow, the third eye that everybody talks about. Oh, I'm blocked. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. But it's not. It's just about consciously being awake, being sensitive to your surroundings, being sensitive to all that is. You might feel a sensitive energy when you walk past someone. Oh, not quite sure of that energy. Or when you go into a building, or when you go out into the garden, maybe the difference from the garden to here. There is a difference in that energy, and it's about sensing, feeling it through here, through our heart, through our belly. It's using all our chakras. And then we have the crown, what we call the bliss. But when we're in that blissful world in the crown energy, it's not what we want, because it means we're in la la land. Do we want to be in la la land? You might want to be, you might want to walk around and go, oh yeah, life is just wonderful, isn't it? Life is lovely. I'm going to have a lovely time today. But in reality, we all have to get up. We all have to do things on a daily basis. And whether we're thinking about eating, sleeping, going to work, or even taking children to school, whatever we're doing, we need to be able to think about it. So the crown chakra just gives us that energy of bliss when we need to relax. So it's about knowing, it's not about opening your crown, it's about just connecting to that energy, knowing that you can bring yourself present. But the brow is the one that's important, the one that keeps you awake, the one that brings in new beginnings, the one that gives you the energy to strive forward, to have the awakening, to have new things come into your life, to be open to spiritual and scientific things. Einstein used his brow chakra. That is when he came up with all these different inventions he had. Now, the energy centers of your home. This is a house that I went to look at, and it was an old forge. It was in Laos, on the Meridian line. I thought, oh, perfect place to be. Not for me, not for me. And as you can see, you can't really see the words there, but I've started with the root at the top, then it goes to the sacral, and then we have the solar plexus, and then the heart, the throat, the brow, and the crown. So as you can see on here, this is a floor plan, and I've also put on here the compass life areas, or the compass directions, and I'll show you in another slide about the life areas. But here you can see, and I've put here about what was in each corner of the life area, because it's very, very interesting that the fireplace here had the brow. Now, the fireplace there dominated the whole room. It absolutely dominated the whole room. And it wasn't really part of the original structure of the old forge. So it was something that came in the 80s. It didn't really fit. Also, in that area, there is a window pane. And from the outside, it looks very nice and bright. From the inside, it's quite dark, and I'll show you the pictures. It's also coming into the north sector, which is your life's journey area. So perhaps the people before here made the fireplace their life's journey, but weren't quite sure of how to make it comfortable and connect to the house. But you can note here that we've got the heart in the centre. So the heart of the home is really there. It's really connecting to the people that were here. Food preparation is where the sacral is. So food meant a lot to the people that were in this home before. They would have liked preparing the food, and also the root is the table and chairs. Now the root to me would normally have been around this area, but it must have been great things that when they came through the door, through the relationships area, they headed straight to the table and chairs to eat, to nourish themselves. So that nourish their sexual energy, nourish their energy vibration, and to give them nourishing food. Now here you've got the sofa, but also it's the bedroom. It was the main bedroom that they slept in. They didn't sleep in this one, and I'll tell you why. They slept in this bedroom. Now the sofa was here. Now this is your solar plexus, the relationship. So to me it meant that you had a close relationship. So the energies were good here. But again, you've got in the northwest here, there was a church here, a very old church called St. Denis. I've never heard of St. Denis, but I looked him up and found he was a very old traditional Irish saint. And so that resonated with me as well, coming from a Celtic background. I thought, great. But it's to do with the relationships, as you can see. Northwest, helpful friends. And what the estate agent told me was, in that corner on the outside, where the church had been burnt to the ground centuries ago in the 1600s, they had left one window only, which they'd planted just here, not far from the corner of that home. And it was overbearing, very powerful energy. Also, if you can see, there's a window there. That window depicted a cross made of flowers. So again, it was connecting to that church energy. So every house will tell a story about how it's related. But also, you have got this crown energy here. So again, the crown energy is about being the bliss, the quietness of the church, and how it resonates. And you must remember, I dowsed the chakras of this before I went to see the property. So this is done all remotely. So it was quite a surprise when I came and actually saw how things fitted together. Now, on the next slide, you can see in the north you get these two windows. One's light, one's dark, but it's the same window in that fireplace area. It's in the brow. So the brow was telling me that the people there were not quite sure of the energy that they were. Were they spiritual? Were they not spiritual? Were they dark? Were they light? Perhaps the husband wasn't spiritual and the woman was, or maybe the husband was and the woman wasn't. But there's some dark and lightness there. Also, where the throat chakra is here at the doorway to this patio area, the patio area is really bleak. Bricks, nothing there at all. Not even a flower, not a plant, nothing. So it gives me the intention that there was nothing being spoken in that house. There was no communication, no love, no joy. And people would just stand at the back door and gaze at nothingness. So their communication was nothing. Oh, where am I going? This, right. So this window here was the one that's connected to the church here. So as you can see, it's slightly cross-like, but it's blue, and it was in this corner. Now, the other spooky thing was that this bedroom, this one here, was not used, and that's where the window and the church window was depicted. So every time you looked through the bedroom window, what did you see? you saw the old 16th century wall and window that had been moved there. So it was very, very much overbearing and challenging for the people that lived there. Now, this is what I liked. The ducks were showing me, do not buy this house. And they were in the relationships area and they were walking away. So, you've got to take in the signs and the synchronicities when you go and look at properties. What are the signs? What are they telling me? No, go away, take your family with you, which she was doing. And I met that duck all day. Every property I went to see, she was there with those little chicks. Don't get me wrong, I walked all around this place and I went to 3 properties and she was there every time. And I didn't buy one of them. So that's the kitchen area. As you can see, there's nothing much going on. Even though people were living there, there's nothing going on there. It's an empty energy. So where perhaps they wanted to have the love and the healthy food and things, it wasn't happening. So nothing was happening. It was all quite bleak. Even the outside of the old forge itself was bleak. It was like Bleak House, overlooking this churchyard here. And looking through the window, can you see there? That's looking through the living room window, and it looks like bars. So you'd be imprisoned. So you were looking out of your prison onto that overbearing church energy. So that is one sort of property that you wouldn't buy if you take in the signs and the energies. You look at the compass life areas, you look at the chakras, and how does it resonate with you? Do your chakra energies resonate with anything that goes on there? Because when I saw that, compass directions, I thought, good, I fancied an old forge, I fancied living in this particular place. But when I drew it all up like this, took in all the signs and everything else, I thought, no, that energy doesn't resonate with me whatsoever. Now, this is a family home with an office. It's on 3 levels. And what you have here is, I've put in the compass directions and what they mean this time on the living room space, but the downstairs area was where they had the office and the kitchen, and then you went up the stairs and then you had the living space, and then you had the bedrooms and the bathroom. And to somebody that just goes in and does a Feng Shui consultation, you think, nice, clean, tidy home. But there was bits of clutter everywhere, and particularly on this stairs here and here and here. On every level, she'd put something in a corner. So you couldn't really get by. You couldn't pass to get up the energies. So there was no chi energy, no chi flowing through the home. Now, when we connect to the chakras again, we look to see where the root is, and the root is here. So it's where you come in through the door. Now, when I show you the pictures of this, it will make sense because there's a pile of family shoes at the front door. So obviously the root energy is with the family, is with the love and the joy. Because this was a young woman that was bringing up her family on her own. And it was a joy and love. It's a really beautiful home. She really enjoyed the garden, and the children are adorable. So you could see it here in the relationships here as well, with the solar plexus, the relationships area. And she actually has 2 mandarin ducks in that area on her kitchen. So she's doing her own feng shui in many ways. But also she had 1 canary singing as well there, 1 on his own. Quite symbolic, obviously, of her singing her story on her own. So we had to make the difference and, 2 of everything, as you do in feng shui. So the heart, now the relationships, this was where she was cooking. A lot of the food preparation was going on here. And it's where everybody came through into the kitchen. So they'd rush through from the porch into here and greet mum. So the heart energy was there. It really resonates, that love. And then we have here the throat. Now, funnily enough, in the throat where she's got this, it's her computer and it's also her telephone. So it's where she communicates most daily, on a daily basis, with all her clients, and where she connects on the computer to learn things for herself as well. So It's two-way communication with clients and for herself. Then we have the sexual energy, the energy of the home itself. Now, again, this was at the bottom of the stairs, but as you resonate all the way up, it's here and it's here. So every point, remember, will reflect all the way up on all 3 floors. So you have that energy, and as you imagine, children run up and down the stairs, don't they? So you have that vibration, that energy, and it raises the energy and the chi within the home. Now, let's see. So here again, we've got the brow energy. This is where she had her books, all her knowledgeable things, and it's in her fortunate blessings area when you look at the compass directions. So everything was making sense, that she'd done things automatically and resonated with the home. This is what you need to know, is when you do the chakras as well as doing the feng shui with the compass directions, you need to know whether the home's energy is actually resonating with you as a family, as a person, and whether you can live there for a long time or not, or whether it's just for a short time and you move on. What do you need to do when you're in the home? So on the next slide, you can see the pictures that resonate with different parts. As I said, you've got the mandarin ducks here. That was in the relationships area in the kitchen. The flowers here and this picture was in the kitchen area. She'd been given these by her children, and this little sign here says about loving the food that you make, although you can't read it there. This picture here, she works, which is, fame and recognition, her relationships. Now this one here is just on this stairs area. Now, word you see immediately is mum, and the lovely heart shapes that resonate around there. So it's about having that lovely heart energy from here to here, resonating with the sacral energy. So you've got this lovely energy going between mum and the family, that lovely vibration. This is where the angelic beings are, the books, the potions, and everything that is sacred to this particular person. And then the front porch, I loved it, all the shoes. And she says, oh, we need all those shoes. We don't know what sort of weather it's going to be each day. It could be raining, it could be nice. So we need those shoes. So when you look at all these life areas, it added up to a nice, happy home. And also in the garden, she'd resonated with the garden. She said, what do I do with this? I've got a cracked pavement. But she'd actually put in outside some nice gold-painted stones. She had also put some lovely flowers at the back of the garden, which would resonate with helpful friends, the children, and the creativity. And she also had a joyous area for the children to play in, which would have been, the back of this home area here, which would be in the west. So everything was around the children creating joy and creating love within the home. And the front was obviously to do with the family and the health. So it meant a lot to go walking, right? Okay. So when you look at the chakras and how they tell the story, this is another case study I did. And it's about new home energies. This is a friend and a client. She moved from London out into the country in Essex, and she's bought this lovely property. It was a dream place. She rented it, first of all, with her husband and her family, and they thought it was a dream come true. And then all of a sudden, they were able to purchase it, and she felt like Lady of the Manor. And in fact, when I went round for tea, it was like being greeted by Lady of the Manor. And it's quite fun. And it's a lovely old historic home. It belonged to a Lord and Lady Astle at the time, going back through the centuries, not now. So there's a lot of history with this house and with the land itself. And it's actually got a secret feng shui garden to it, which I'll get to in the next slide as well. Because, as you know, you're supposed to have that secret feng shui area at the back of your garden so that you have that third dimension. So with the chakras here, you can see how I've put on here the relationships area, fame, recognition, fortunate blessings, health and family, knowledge, career and life's journey, friends and travel and creativity and joy. Now, the creativity and joy area, this is where they come in through this entrance. The root chakra is there. So again, this is where everybody comes in through the home. They're rooted, they're grounded as soon as they come in. And it's the kitchen. And the kitchen is where this young woman spends most of her time cooking nourishing food for the family. She's cleaning, washing, and creating a happy life and joyous time. The other side to this house, there is another building here, and it's a stable. But it's no longer a stable. It is now a nice, glorious place where she holds her gong baths. It used to be a party home, apparently, to the previous occupants. But now it's a very spiritual place. So it's an old barn, an old stable, but it's come into its own being, a spiritual being. So again, that makes sense with the creativity, the joy, but being rooted, because she didn't quite know if she felt the place was right for her. But once she'd found her root here and connected to the barn, she found that that was her home. That was where her energy could be input, was into the barn. So she had a separate place from the home that was hers. Now, when we come to sacral energy, you can see the sacral here is in the southwest, the relationships. Now, this was a very funny area because it wasn't really working. And she was honest. She said they have had their ups and downs since they've been there. And they go and sit in a special place out in the back garden on 2 chairs. And I'll show you those in a minute too. But particularly here, this is where all the washing's done. There's a peeling wall. And the bathroom above there, the shower, had leaked just 2 days before I came. So obviously the house was saying, you've got to look at this area right now. This isn't working. So that's your sexual energy, the relationships as well. So it's all going on here. There's not much vibration, so it needed raising. So then we go to, the solar plexus was here. You can't see it on there, as you can see it's there. But the solar plexus is actually in the main bedroom. Now, that's quite interesting because apparently the previous occupants had actually split from each other and were divorced. So this couple don't want to split up. They want a happy, loving relationship with their family and with each other. So I actually had to space clear the massive wardrobe that had been left in this house of the male energy that had been left behind from this dominant male from the previous occupants. And obviously all the maleness that was in this particular bedroom. Because her husband would not sleep in this room. He slept in this room, which is where the brow energy is. So it's the new action, the new energies and everything coming in. So when we go back here to the solar plexus, I went there again about 2 weeks ago, and he actually said to me, the husband, he said, what have you done? He said, it's so completely different. I love it here now, and I love being in this bedroom. So he obviously felt the male energy from the previous occupant. So it's very important to clear that predecessor chi. So when we come here, I'm going all over the place with them chakras, I know. But I wanted to go here because this is the crown chakra. And if you notice, a lot of the chakras are in a line to the outside space. So you have the crown, the throat, and the sacral energy. And it's all going out and facing the garden. And it's because these people spend a lot of time and energy in the garden. And what it is, this house particularly resonates with bliss here. They have a lot of outside space, lots of tables and seating area. You can look beyond in the garden, it's so beautiful. And the trees and the flowers and the birds sing. So you can understand why that is the bliss point. It's where you go through the door and you enter that bliss. Now coming back to this brow energy is really interesting where it is because it's into the study area here, but also down there are the cellar steps to a cellar full of booze. And of course, spirit, right? And I don't mean just spirit booze, but spirits. So the old spirits of the house are actually hanging around in the cellar. So, and obviously it comes into the office, and nobody uses that office space. This lady's husband actually goes up into the loft and uses the loft area because he doesn't want to be in that room. So I've had to space clear all these places bit by bit by bit, rather than doing it in one go, because I needed to see what resonated with these people. You don't want to space clear every single bit. That's what some people do. When you space clear a home, you clear all the predecessor chi. It's empty and you fill it with your own energy. But you have to be careful, because sometimes with these chakra energies, you need to be aware that when the house has got chakras, you were drawn to that house in the first place because the house wanted you, loves you, needs you. You were also drawn to it because you love and need the house itself. So you need to be careful of what you're clearing. So again, when you come into this area, this is the health and family. So nothing going on here. And in the room above, there was nothing. There was the husband sleeping in the bedroom up here. So, and then he was also working in the office above that bedroom. So he was coming into this health and family and also the brow. So what does that make you think? That he was in need of perhaps healing, energy. He was also awakening to a new life for himself. You know, was he going to any longer be doing the work that he used to do in an office? Or was he going to change his whole scenario? So there was a new change coming in. So it was quite dramatic to see the chakras and how they resonated with the people that were coming into this new home. Now, here the throat chakra is very interesting, because in this bedroom area here, and it's also here, but in that particular bedroom, it was the youngest daughter's bedroom. Now, she didn't have any problem speaking. You know, she was very vocal, it's the throat chakra, and she would not sleep in that room. She'd sleep in the room next door, which is this room. And in that room, it was very peaceful. And obviously, you have some of this bliss energy in there, which is what she was picking up, because her bed was right there in that corner. And she wouldn't sleep where the throat energy was. And she'd actually turned this into her playroom. But it also had a wonky bookcase behind the bed. So it would have disturbed her sleep. It would have made her a bit wonky, a bit off balance. But she didn't want that bookcase changed. So she liked being wonky. She liked being off balance. She liked being able to say what she wanted to say and do. And Mum took it all on board, which is good, right? So then when you come into the heart, now the heart energy was in this center point virtually, but the heart energy also was in the dining room, which was quite dark in many ways. And when I go on to the next slide, you can see here the pictures that were in that heart energy. Now the lady of the home here, she bought lots of old pictures that she thought would resonate with the house itself. So she'd go to antique shops and jumble sales and all sorts of things. And she found this. But it made her remember her own family, her ancestry, and the heart of the home. And she felt that this is what the home needed. It needed to be remembered. The history needed to be remembered. So that's what she was resonating with, the energy of the home. But you can see quite a dark colour in that room, isn't it? With the maroon. I need to bring you to these stars here, because it was like fame, fortune and friendship is what the stars meant to me. Rather than, you know, fame and recognition, it's fame, fortune and friendship. And she'd got those in this area at her front door as you walk in. And it was opposite the barn, which is where she wants her fame, fortune and friendship. And she's got many friends that come as her clients, come to her gong baths and for her Reiki and her teachings and everything she does. So there's lots of things that are already there. This clock and this picture We're also in this area here, just as you go through the kitchen and into the hallway here. And this clock is the moon cycles. So when you look at the moon cycles of how we see the quarter moon, the half moon, the full moon, and then it comes round to the new moon, etc. So the moon cycles were very important to her, and how we live our life, how we resonate with the land. And it's what we're all doing at the moment. It's how we're resonating with the land. So this house is very important for her, how she resonates with the land. One of her friends painted this picture. You can't see it properly here, but this represents a fire pit which she put in later at the bottom of the garden, and I'll show you pictures of the fire pit. And then this shows the trees, and then the long greenery up to the house. The house is that little dot in the background there. But she recognises it's important to have the home recognised for what it is. Now when you come to this area here, this was Delftware and a mermaid. This was in this area here, the bathroom, also to do with the area going down to the alcohol and all the booze. But this is also resonating with Denmark and places like that. She brought a lot of pictures that were on the stairs to do with the kings and queens of Denmark. I said to her, why did you buy them? I don't know, I felt drawn to them. They weren't attractive to me, but they were attractive for her. So like Diane said earlier in her, it's about what's attractive for you, what's good for you, what do you feel right for your home. So these pictures were perfect for her where she wanted to put them. They resonated with her resoundingly. But there was a lot of fishy stuff going on in this particular area of health and family and the knowledge section. And today she's holding a gong bath connected with water. So again, she has this great water connection. Now, also in the living room area, the solar plexus, you've got the yellow colours going on, the relationships around the fire. So again, it was very important to have this happy relationship, the family home here, not just the bedroom, but it's the family living space below the bedroom. So you've got the hearth of the home. This one here, this picture was actually in the bathroom to the main bedroom. So again, you've got that lovely Buddha, that harmony that's resonating into the bedroom, bringing in that solar plexus energy, that heart energy with the relationships, that belly energy. These are the two seats that they sit on in the southwest looking out, where they discuss what they don't want the children to hear. But it's where they sit, they become companions, and you can see the flowers and everything all around them. The land resonates with them. So whatever they're talking about, it soon disperses. It's taken over by nature. This is the wonky bookcase. As you can see, you've got the rainbow, you've got the wonky bookcase. But this little girl, she can be very active during the day, but she wants her bliss at night. So at night, she's got a Buddha picture in her bedroom, a very blissful, scenic single bed, whereas that one is very, very chaotic. So she has two personas, one where she wants to have a quiet, peaceful sleep, the other one where she's busy, 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 charging around all day long. Yes, this is me. So you can see how the chakras can tell you a different story, a different perspective to the life areas of the compass directions, and how we see ourselves and how we work with the energies of our home. So that's the fire pit, which ends up being in the southeast. Now this was amazing because the lady of the house, she told me that the wood had already been cut in these shapes. She hadn't cut them, she just placed them around. And that was already there. So nature itself was working in harmony with her, saying this is what I'd like this area to be. These two pictures are in the centre of the garden, so it's very important that children are important to the land here. Very important that children are happy, that families are happy, that there's joy, that there's balance. And then there's this long pathway through the garden, and at the back there's a big, long, plain field. Like I said, it's that Feng Shui hidden aspect that comes in, that brings in that natural beauty and resonance, that when you go through that archway, you come out into this big open space, and you can see then Castle Hedingham, because it's at Castle Hedingham. I shouldn't say that, should I? You'll all be going there now to see her house. This is the back of the house, and as you can see, there's the two chairs they sit in the southwest. So they are making their own resolutions. They're making their own harmony, their own peace within the house. The house is communicating with them. This is where you resolve everything. The west and northwest, this is the barn. This is where she's doing all her work now with her Reiki, her teachings, her drumming. Everything is going on here. She also communicates. There's a well outside here. There's a well, two large wells actually, between the house, which is here, and the barn. There's also a spirit in the well, but she's happy with it. She doesn't mind. And actually, it's a protector and guardian of this property. So we're connected to the guardian of the property, and she's happy being that way. So that's your helpful friend. In the north, we found the green man. So the green man is bringing in, okay, it's your life's direction, it's your career maybe, but their new direction is maybe holding retreats, a totally different way of life. It's a new connectivity, and the green man is helping them bring that. The east and the northeast, this is like a swinging chair, and you climb up the ladder to sit yourself in the balance of life. So you're sitting in the balance of your family, the balance and love of your health, your well-being, but the knowledge of knowing that all is well. Because sometimes we don't have to have our feet firmly on the ground. We can balance things in perfect harmony. So I think that's a really wonderful example of a good house compared to the first house we saw, where you can see that things were not quite right, quite sticky, quite icky, quite yucky. You know, and when you go and look at properties for yourself, because a lot of us are doing this at this time, we're all changing direction, moving home, don't know where we're going, don't know what we're doing. And when you connect like this with the chakras, with the Feng Shui knowledge you have, looking at the earth energies, looking at everything, make a connectivity with it all, then you've got that perfect balance. You know what will resonate here with your heart, your belly, your roots. So see the signs and check in with your home. When you see, sense or feel that the energy of your home is not quite right, do a short meditation going into your heart. Connect to the energy of the home and the spirit of place. What does the spirit of place want from me? What does it need me to do here? What's my job here? As new keeper, new guardian of the home, what's my job? What's my purpose? Am I meant to be here for a long time or a short period? Use your senses and knowing. Have that knowing, that gut feeling here. Not up here. This doesn't tell you anything. But here, use your sense and know from your heart, what do you need to bring into your life, to bring balance, harmony into your home, to have well-being for me and my family, for those loved ones around me, my pets, my animals, everybody around me that comes to see me, visit me. It's not just about you, otherwise you'll be filling your life full of aloneness. So how to raise the energies of our homes that we're currently in? We can put orgonite on the energy meridians. So if we look at the chakras, we can connect to the energy meridians of the chakras and bring them to balance using orgonite, using crystals. Make a crystal grid on the floor plan of the home. This is what I've been teaching my students over the years. It's by making a floor plan with crystal grids, you connect to the energies of the home and you bring them to balance. And you can do it remotely. You don't have to place a crystal around every single corner of your home. Give an offering to the spirit of place. Make sure the fairies, the elementals, the energies of the place. Understand that you're coming from your heart and that you're not just visiting, that you're not just using the place for your own means, that you're going to be part of that land, that you're going to resonate with it, and that you're going to give as well as receive. And make an offering. It could be flowers, it could be seeds, anything. An acorn that the earth has given you, give it back. The spirit of place of your home. My daughter took this picture, and the circles of energy were behind my grandson, who's actually sat down here. But this was behind him. And I thought, well, what a wonderful glimpse of what energy is in nature when it comes to sit behind you like that and shows itself. You know, as we could see in the slides before where we saw the faces of nature, which you can in the trees, the flowers, the grass, everything resonates and has a sense of being. So remember to connect to the spirit place, the spirit of place of your home. And when you do that, you know that you can truly be at one with your home and yourselves.